Weilà raga, come state ragazzi? Welcome to yet another lesson in the Learn Italian Zero to Hero grammar series, where we're taking a look at Italian from zero, taking you all the way up to hero. So we're going to look at all the basic material and gradually work our way up. So after spending a lot of time with pronouns, we saw them as direct, indirect, double, reflexive. Now we're going to take a little bit of a break and take it on back and do some verbs, some verb conjugations. We're going to be looking at the imperfect tense, also known as the imperfetto. Let's head on over to the whiteboard, shall we? So we're going to be looking at the imperfetto. I'm going to refer it by its Italian name, and let's not make the double T look like an H. Let's look at the imperfetto. Imperfetto, cool. So what is the imperfetto about? This is another past tense in Italian. So this is a past tense. We saw one already with the passato prossimo. However, this one's a little different. This is used for past habitual actions, which basically means things that happened over and over again. So things that happened continually, over and over again, whatever you'd like to say, over and over again. So let's put this into some context here in English first. So if I tell you, I used to play soccer, or if I say, and for my friends outside of the US, football, let's put that into, why not, eh? Why not? I used to play football. You could also tell someone, I would always hang out with my friends, let's say every Friday night. Okay. So these are two ways using used to and would. And let's do one more. Let's say, I always knew you were talented. Let's do that. Okay. And one last way here. These are three ways that we essentially can use the imperfect, but in English. It's when we're talking about things that were either happening in the background, maybe it was a characteristic of someone, or simply it just was a past tense happening at an unspecified point in time. Let me just adjust my camera a little bit. There we go. It was happening at an unspecified point in time. I guess every Friday night is quite specific, but it happened over and over again. Yeah, okay. Let's not get too deep into that because I want to show you the examples in Italian and then it'll make more sense that way. Let's do that. Okay, so just to show you three ways using a verb in what we just call the simple past, but the way in which we use it with words like always, we know it happened over and over again. It was habitual. We also use words like, expressions like used to. That way we know you no longer do it. And would is essentially a synonym of that. So I just wanted to put that out there. These are going to be three possible translations we can use when looking at something in the imperfetto in Italian. That's all this serves to do. Okay. I'd like to show you now, should we look at the verb endings first? Yeah, let's conjugate some verbs, shall we? Let's look at are verbs, regular are verbs, in the imperfetto. Let's begin with that. Let's use good old parlare. Io parlavo. Tu parlavi. And then we're going to look at this in context. Lui, lei, parlava. Let's put the plurals on the side over here. Noi parlavamo. Noi parlavamo. Voi parlavate. Voi parlavate. There is a tendency with English speakers to want to say parlavamo, but it's, oh no, that actually is okay. Parlavamo. No, it's like that. Noi parlavamo. Yeah, that's correct. Oh, it's with the loro form. My bad. Loro parlavano. Parlavano. A lot of people want to say parlavano. Parlavano. and obviously I'm even using a more American accent with that, but it's parlavano, parlavano. So accent basically on that A rather than this one here. In English, we would say parlavano, but in Italian, it's parlavano, parla, la, on that right there. So if that helps, it's something I can hear. I feel like I can hear people that have this question all the time. It's something that comes up a lot. So I just can hear it in my head. So that's why I'm bringing it up. Anyway, what are our are verb endings for all regular verbs in the imperfetto? Avo or avo, avi, ava, avamo, avate, avano. So you could take any are verb that is regular and cut off the are, put in these verb endings, and boom, you just went from saying to talk to used to talk. And depending on the subject, it's going to be io parlavo, I used to talk. Tu parlavi, you used to talk. Let's put that in some context, shall we? Let's say parlavo l'italiano. Let's say ogni settimana. Parlavo l'italiano ogni settimana con mia nonna. Ma adesso non lo parliamo più. How do I like that? Does that sound good? Ma oramai. I like oramai, actually. Oramai feels better, and I even spelled it so wrong. I don't know. Is this like the digital thing just not picking up on it? Because I feel like I'm writing it unless, I don't know. I don't know what's up with the whiteboard sometimes, unless it's just my mind when I'm focused on filming, teaching, presenting, writing. I got all the notes in my head. I don't know. Anyway, parlavo l'italiano ogni settimana con mia nonna. Ma oramai non lo parliamo più. So we're including some present tense here. We're including possession here, a preposition, definite articles. Wow, great stuff. Great stuff. See how everything builds on itself? So this means I used to talk, or used to speak, rather. I used to speak Italian every week with my grandmother, but nowadays, or at this point in time, now, but it's now in that meaning, not now in this instance. It's like nowadays, we don't speak it anymore. We don't speak it anymore, which is very sad. I really hope that you and your grandmother start speaking Italian more frequently. So yeah, that's a way of saying it. Could you also say, I would speak Italian with my grandmother every week, but now we don't do it anymore? Sure. Every week when we would see each other? Ooh, that'd be nice too. Can we add that in? Let's do that. Okay, so parlavo l'italiano. Let's change it. Ogni domenica. Yeah. Parlavo l'italiano ogni domenica con mia nonna quando... Yeah, there we go. I missed a no. That was my fault. I caught myself. Quando ci vedevamo per, let's say, il pranzo di domenica. Let's do that. Oh, we have to get to days of the week. We haven't done that yet. That's sloppy. Let's move that down to the other line. Il pranzo di domenica. So what does this mean? Okay. I included a lot here. So we have parlavo l'italiano ogni domenica. I used to speak Italian every Sunday, or I would speak Italian every Sunday. You could say I spoke Italian every Sunday. That works too. With my grandmother, when we would see each other for Sunday lunch, essentially is what that means, for the lunch of Sunday, for Sunday lunch. So we're using a reflexive verb in the imperfect. See how nice it is once you learn other things in Italian, first in the present, and then you start seeing it carry on in other verb tenses. It just enriches the experience. Quando ci vedevamo, esatto. Parlavo l'italiano ogni domenica con mia nonna quando ci vedevamo per il pranzo di domenica. That's beautiful. Beautiful, beautiful. So glad we got to do that. And we already previewed an verb, which we're going to get to. Let's do vedere. Why not? Let's do it. Let's back into that. Okay. Let's look at verbs. The good news is that the verb endings are very similar. In the imperfetto, the thing that you're going to notice is that they all have this vo, vi, va, vamo, vate, vano. They all have that. If it's an verb, you put an a before. If it's an verb, you put an e. If it's an verb, you put an I. That's it. That's all you need to remember. So you could minimize how much you're memorizing if you're taking the verb ending route and, going down that path of trying to remember things. So let's go through vedere. Vedere means to see. Very useful word. And, well, actually, this is technically, is vedersi reflexive? No, no. Vedersi means to see oneself. If you're saying ci with vedere, this is what we call a reciprocal reflexive verb. You're taking a verb and you're making it behave like it is a reflexive verb, and you're only using it in the noi form to say those two people are doing something and they're both receiving it. That's what that is. I can make a note of that if that would be helpful. So, io vedevo. We could do a whole lesson on that, actually. It's not a very difficult topic, so I think you guys will find it quite intuitive. Io vedevo, tu vedevi, lui, lei vedeva, noi vedevamo. No, noi vedevamo, con one N. We don't want to... If you hold too much onto the consonant, it's like you're doubling it. It's vedevamo, not vedevamo. You can't hold on to that M because there's not two. It's one. Vedevamo, like that. Voi vedevate. Wow, I never say voi vedevate. It's a form I never use. Loro vedevano. See how you do that? Vedevano. It's not vedevano. Remember how I said before? It's not that accent on that A over there. It's on the E or on the A or then on the I. Vedevano. Vede. And put the E like that if you can. Vedevano. It's a beautiful sounding E. I love that sound in Italian. Vedere. Io vedevo, tu vedevi, lui, lei vedeva, noi vedevamo, voi vedevate, loro vedevano. Beautiful, man. Beautiful. And so that is where this vedevamo, that's where we got ci vedevamo from. So I'll make a little note of this, okay? Just so you guys can see what I was talking about. These are called a reciprocal, if I can remember how to spell that, reciprocal reflexive verb. So this is when we have a verb such as ci vediamo, or we could say ci ascoltiamo, or we could say ci parliamo. Basically, you take a verb, put it in the noi form, and put ci before it as a reflexive pronoun. And it means we're doing this onto each other. It is reciprocal. It's like a reflexive verb. I am seeing, you are seeing, we are seeing, we're seeing each other. That's all. So it behaves like a reflexive verb. Okay. So then we just did evo, evi, eva, evamo, evate, evano. Evamo. Can't hold on to that E so much. Okay, so we already saw this in context. Very nice, but let's do another one, okay? Just because. Let's say, mi ricordo che tu vedevi, let's do that. Mi ricordo che tu vedevi, that you used to see, what did you used to see? Che tu vedevi il tramonto. Even though I like guardare a little bit better, you would watch, but it's okay. Che tu vedevi il tramonto ogni mattina. Mi ricordo che tu vedevi il tramonto ogni mattina quando eri piccolo. Let's just do that. And then we'll go into essere because we're using essere here. So, using a reflexive, I remember that you used to see the tramonto is the sunset. Yeah, so why are you saying mattina? Ogni sera. Ogni sera. I knew something was a little wrong when I was saying that. Che tu vedevi il tramonto ogni sera Quando eri piccolo, when you were little. So I remember you used to see the sunset. Let's just, because that's going to annoy me. Quando tu guardavi. Let me make that clearer for you guys. Quando tu guardavi. Okay. Guardavi. That's another way of putting it. When you used to watch. It's probably better. It's an odd verb, but you guys get the idea. Mi ricordo che tu vedevi o guardavi il tramonto ogni sera quando eri piccolo. So I remember you used to always watch or look at or see the sunset every evening when you were little. That's how you can use that. Let's go into essere while we're at it, okay? To explain what we just did over there. We can do avere as well. Essere means to be, extremely common in the imperfect, in the imperfetto. It's an irregular verb, so it doesn't follow the same pattern as regular verbs. Io ero, tu eri, lui, lei, era, noi eravamo, voi eravate, loro erano. That's how I pronounce my E's. I don't think people say erano, loro erano. I don't think they make it that open. Loro erano, loro erano. Io ero. Yeah, I'm pretty sure that's how most people pronounce it, but take a look into that. Io ero, tu eri, lui, lei era, noi eravamo, voi eravate, loro erano. Very nice. So just as we saw here, quando eri piccolo, when you were little. Nice. So I could say, for example, quando, let's say, lui era un bambino. Quando lui era un bambino. Oh, here we go. Giocava sempre. I even say sempre. I don't say sempre. I don't know if it's supposed to be open. Wow, now I'm curious about the E's. I love pronunciation, especially with the open and closed vowels. Sempre. I say sempre. Quando lui era un bambino, giocava sempre giocava sempre a calcio. Yeah. Usually with giocare, the preposition a always follows. Giocare a qualcosa, giocare a baseball, giocare a basket. Let's do basket. Let's have fun. Giocava a basket. That's a way of saying basketball. Cool, right? You could say pallacanestro, but everyone says basket. Quando lui era un bambino, giocava sempre a basket. With the Italian pronunciation, you like that? Giocava sempre a basket. So when he was a baby, when he was a small child, you could also say ragazzino. That's nice too. Quando lui era un ragazzino, because it's ragazzo with the ino ending, meaning little. Quando lui era un ragazzino, when he was a little boy, he would always play basketball. So remember, after giocare, always use a. So after giocare, use a. So giocare a uno sport, to play a sport. That's just the way they do it. Okay, nice. Let's move on to an ire verb. All ire verb endings are going to look like this. With, we like dormire. And dormire, pulire. What about something different? Dormire, pulire, seguire. That's nice. Seguire. Anyone know what seguire means? Seguire is to follow. That's a nice one. Okay, seguire. So we have io seguivo. Oh, and it already has a letter I. No, yeah, for ire. Okay. Io, because I was going to say, isn't the ending like you don't have to add an extra I? But segui. Seguire. Yeah. Seguo. Yeah, you would cut it off in the present. Okay. So yeah. Io seguivo. Sorry that I'm talking to myself. But maybe it's cool that you could see kind of the gears, how they're working, you know? Tu seguivi. Lui, lei, seguiva. Noi seguivamo. It's a beautiful sound. Seguivamo. Yeah, that's beautiful. Voi seguivate. Yeah, even that, I never say that. Loro seguivano. That I say a lot. Loro seguivano. So, here are our verb endings for ire verbs as you can see, they're all really just vo, vi, va, vamo, vate, vano. That's how I remembered them when I was first learning this. I found that to be a lot easier, and I was just like, okay, if it's an ire verb, put an I before the V. If it's ere, put an I or an e. And if it's are, put an a. That's how I did it. Let's do something fun here. Let's say, let's do voi. Yeah. Voi seguivate i miei video. È il mio canale, that's okay. Voi seguivate il mio canale. Voi seguivate il mio canale nel passato. Let's say that. Vero? E ora? Che fate? Non mi seguite più? I like to have fun with our translations. Non mi seguite più? E come mai? Okay. I threw in a lot here, but I think you guys will find this fun. Okay. So you guys used to follow my channel in the past, right? Is that so? Is that true? And now? What do you guys do? You don't follow me anymore? How come? Come mai is like saying how come. Fun, right? So incorporating the imperfect, imperfetto with the present, showing how you can use it to say you don't follow me anymore using più. Saying che fate, just be like, well, what are you guys doing? What do you do now? E ora, and now? Using vero, come mai, meaning how come. Cool, right? All right, excellent. And now let's do avere, and then maybe we'll just do another example or two, and we'll call it a day for today. So avere means to have. It's an irregular verb. Io avevo. Hang on, doesn't it? Let's see. Tu avevi. Lui, yeah. Lei aveva. In the imperfetto, it's actually a regular verb. Noi avevamo. Yeah. Behaves like everyone else. Voi avevate. Loro avevano. That's right. This happens with verbs. They are irregular in some verb tenses, like avere is usually always irregular. But in the imperfetto, it behaves like everybody else. One less extra thing we have to spend our time trying to memorize, right? We like that. Io avevo, tu avevi, lui le aveva, noi avevamo, voi avevate, loro avevano. That's great. Let's use this as an example. I miei compagni di classe. I always like that for loro. I miei amici. It's shorter to write. I miei amici, my friends, avevano molto, let's say tempo libero. Avevano molto tempo libero quando, this is good, quando erano piccoli. That's a nice one. Purtroppo, I know I'm doing longer, let me make this a very clear O, R-O, I want you guys to see that clearly. Purtroppo le cose sono cambiate. There we go. Okay. That way you could see a little bit more, you know? I think it's nice to have longer examples. I miei amici avevano molto tempo libero quando erano piccoli. So my friends used to have a lot of free time, or they had a lot of free time when they were small. Unfortunately, purtroppo, things have changed. Le cose sono cambiate. Things have changed. Or things, we don't say things are changed. It just means things have changed. If you want to say that, you wouldn't say le cose hanno cambiato. Could you say that? Maybe you could. Le cose sono cambiate. Instead, yeah. I can't think on the spot why that comes naturally to me, but I know that that just sounds right. Le cose sono cambiate. Because things are changed. Like, it's no longer the case. I'm just stating a fact. Yeah. Things are changed. It's basically like passive voice. Yeah. So you use essere. That's going to be a whole nother lesson. Okay. Wonderful. I think this actually might be a really good place to close it up. I think as we can see in all of these examples, we're constantly reiterating the idea that the imperfetto can get translated in a few different ways. Principally, we use used to, or you would use just the simple past tense of the simple past tense form in English. In English. So if I give you another example, if you tell someone, lo sapevo, like just as an exclamation, this is the equivalent of saying, I knew it. You know, when you just know something, you're like, I knew it. Lo sapevo. Lo sapevo. I knew it. Because I'm not using l'ho saputo, which would be the passato prossimo version. And we can do a whole video on passato prossimo versus imperfetto. This also technically means I knew it. But it's not the same feeling. L'ho saputo is very much like done, over with, one instance, one period of time. It feels so limited. Whereas lo sapevo is like, oh, dude, I knew it. And I'm not telling you for how long. I could have known this thing for 10 years, you know? But it doesn't feel that way with lo saputo. So just a little preview there as well of passato prossimo versus imperfetto. So used to, you could also say would. This is a key word that we use in the condizionale when we're talking about hypothetical things. But in terms of the imperfect, the imperfetto, it could also work for that. Like I would always speak to my grandmother. That's something that we do in English. It's quite interesting. I bet for a lot of people, you probably never even realize you do that, right? It's just so natural. So I think this is a good place to close it up. Very nice. As is always the case with something new that you learn in a language. As you can see, everything builds on itself. So that's why I always say make sure you see the last videos and even go back to them. You know, maybe you've watched them, but go back now that you have more info. You know, having that extra info, now having gone through that journey, you're like, oh, wait, maybe I can make better sense of stuff that I wasn't quite able to put together yet because I didn't know how everything would look as you keep going. So repetition, honestly, is really key with learning a language. With learning anything, but we're talking about learning a language. Repetition really does make a big difference. Handwrite things so you can see the patterns. Ask yourself, how can I say it this way? How can I say it that way? You know, try to see how far you can go with something. See where your shortcomings are. And yeah, so that's going to be it for today's video. As always, make sure you've seen what we've done and you stay tuned for what's to come. Things are going to keep getting more and more exciting as we move along. Always remember to spread the love, guys, and I'll catch you on the next video. Ciao, ciao!